Dolphins Today is presented by Aura, a all-in-one digital safety company. You can start your 14-day free trial today at aura.com/chatsports. With that, we get into today's show. Welcome into Dolphins Today. I am Will Scott. And on today's show, I'm going to give you a 53-man roster projection. I know it's early. I'm sure the Dolphins are still going to be picking up some guys in free agency potentially, or maybe get guys that get cut post-June 1. That's going to be very interesting to follow, and we'll keep you updated on that, which is a reason you should subscribe to Dolphins Today. And you should also subscribe if you're excited about the Dolphins season. This might be the Dolphins' year, who knows, with all the moves they've made with Mike McDaniel, this new coaching staff. So hit that big red sub button if you're excited about the Dolphins season. So let's get into this Dolphins roster projection, and we start with the quarterbacks. And obviously this is pretty easy to project. The Dolphins are going to carry 2 quarterbacks. I don't really see a scenario where they carry 3 on the initial 53-man roster. 2 is going to be QB1. Teddy going to be QB2. We'll get into my practice squad later, but I expect Skylar Thompson to be the practice squad quarterback. Let's get into our running back projections now, and you might see some names that aren't on here that maybe you expected to be on here, but I think the Dolphins are going to carry 4 running backs. Now, you could make the argument that, with Mike McDaniel's history with running backs, and it's going to be a run-heavy offense, that maybe they carry more, especially when you consider the injury history with Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. You still have a lot of depth at this position, though, with 4 running backs. And right now, I'm gonna keep Myles Gaskin on this list. I applaud Myles Gaskin, by the way, because after the Sony Michel signing, I said on the show that I thought Myles Gaskin was gone. Myles Gaskin, from all accounts, has been one of the hardest working players at OTAs. Credit to him for sticking around and really not complaining and going out there and doing his thing. But I do think Salvon Ahmed might be the odd man out here. But expect the Dolphins to carry 4 to 5 running backs, right? Last year they carried 3 on the initial 53-man. You see teams carry anywhere from 3 to 5 running backs and then a fullback. Alec Ingold going to be the fullback on this team. So I could see a scenario where Ahmed gets put on the roster as the 5th running back. But right now in my initial projection, I'm going to say they carry 4 running backs with Myles Gaskin just making the cut. How many running backs do you think are going to make the Dolphins roster? Could be 3, 4, maybe 5. At least 4. I do see a scenario where they do keep 5. And maybe he's a Quandre White, undrafted free agent. Who knows? Maybe he's going to be that 5th running back. Going to be interesting to see. Go down in the comments section and let me know what you think. Wide receiver. And on one of our previous shows, I broke down each and every one of the Dolphins' 12 wide receivers that they currently have on the roster, and I said half of these guys are going to get cut. Most NFL teams carry 6 or 7 wide receivers. Right now, I'm going to have the Dolphins carrying 6. Eric Ezukanma, a rookie wide receiver, obviously a lock to make the team. Preston Williams, I wouldn't call him a lock, but he's looking really good right now at OTAs. I like Preston. I think this could be a big year for him. And then Lynn Bowden Jr., we did not see him play last year, but I really like his versatility in Mike McDaniel's offense. So that means that these 3 guys got cut. River Craycraft, Trent Sherfield, 2 guys that you signed from San Francisco. The Mike McDaniel connection does not matter. They're going to get cut. And then Cody Core as well. Cody Core, a long shot to make this team. But River Craycraft and Trent Sherfield certainly have a chance to make the team. However, with all the depth that the Dolphins have at the wide receiver position, I don't think they're going to make the team. Not to mention Craycraft, somewhat of a familiar name. He's been in the league for a few years, but he didn't even have a reception last year with the San Francisco 49ers. I don't expect him to make this team. If you're stacking him up and putting him right next to Preston Williams and Lynn Bowden Jr., he's going to be the odd man out there. Now taking a look at the offensive line. Yes, there's only one center on the roster. It's funny. my producer Trace, before the show, we're doing a graphics review. He's like, Will, are you sure this is correct? They only have one center on the roster? Yes! Michael Dieter, the only center on the roster. Hashtag JC in Miami. Let's change that. So there are some notable names here that did not make my roster projection. Greg Little being one of those guys. However, undrafted free agent Kellen Diesch, I have slotted him as the backup left tackle. However, he might be starting at right tackle by year's end if Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg don't play a little bit better. But I think Kellen Diesch is a lock to make the team. Best undrafted free agent in not just on this Dolphins team, but in the NFL. So I think he's a lock to make this team. I expect him to get a decent amount of playing time as a backup tackle. And then, of course, we have Robert Hunt at right guard, Austin Jackson. I'm going to go ahead and put him as the starting right tackle over Liam Eichenberg, those two currently competing for that spot. Now, when you're looking at all the rosters across the NFL, and you look at all the moves the Dolphins have made this offseason, where do you think that roster stands when you're looking at the entire league? Let me know. Rank the Dolphins roster amongst all 32 NFL teams. I think it was Sports Illustrated or either NBC Sports that said the Dolphins' power rankings. It was Peter King of NBC Sports. Used to be at SI. He said the Dolphins' 16th best roster of the 32 teams. Go down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Dolphins may be a top 10 team right now. Looking at tight ends. Now, last year on the initial 53-man, the Dolphins carried 5 tight ends. That's just not going to happen this year. I just do not see that happening, especially with the depth they have at wide receiver. They feel really good about Mike Gesicki. There's no reason why they need to carry 5 tight ends right now. Now, Durham Smythe and Hunter Long, I think, also going to make this team. Smythe was the number 2 tight end last season. He re-signed. It's funny, Gesicki and Smythe were both free agents. I don't think that we expected both of them to be back, but they are both back. And then Hunter Long, I have him beating out Adam Shaheen to make this roster, which might be a bold prediction. Adam Shaheen has been in the league for a few years, was the Dolphins' number 3 tight end last season. However, I really like the potential with Hunter Long. When you look at Hunter Long, he was a 3rd-round pick out of Boston College in 2021. Only 1 reception last season, 7 games played. But I think the upside is there. I think the potential is there for Hunter Long. Was a second-team All-American at Boston College in 2020. I think he beats out Adam Shaheen, is the 3rd tight end to make this roster. Because when you look at, like I said, the potential, and from all accounts, the coaching staff really likes him. I think that he didn't really get much of a chance to kind of show what he could do last season. I think he's due, not necessarily for a big year. I mean, he's not going to be a top 2 tight end on this team, but I think he's going to get a lot more reps than he did last season. Now looking at the defensive line, Emmanuel Ogbah is on the left side as the defensive end. Christian Wilkins on the right side. So I'm going to say they carry 6 defensive linemen. We'll get into some odd men out a little bit later on in the show as part of notable cuts. You did bring back John Jenkins, re-signing him. I feel comfortable with him right behind Raekwon Davis. Zach Sealer, man, one of the more underrated players on this team and in the entire league. I really like him. Was a practice player of the day at OTAs. Watch for him to have a pretty big impact this season. And look out for this free trial offer we're giving you from Aura. It's going to be a 14-day free trial. Aura.com/chatsports. You're going to get financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security. And you're not just protecting yourself, you're also protecting your whole family. They have family plans that can protect up to 5 people. And look, when you have a suspicious charge on your credit card, right, a lot of times that goes unnoticed. You know, I'll open my banking account app, and I'll go back and I'll see a suspicious charge from a month ago. Aura is going to alert you the second a suspicious charge happens so you can shop, bank, and work online more safely and privately. You can get your 14-day free trial, Aura.com/chatsports. That link in the comments and in the description of this video. Now looking at our linebackers, and the Dolphins have pretty solid depth here, I would say. I'm going to say they carry 9 linebackers if you count edge rushers like Melvin Ingram. Now, they re-signed Sam McGuavin, Brennan Scarlett, Landon Roberts, and drafted Channing Tindall. So they have strengthened this linebacking core, bringing back some guys and also drafting Tindall, who I know you all know that I like a lot. I think he's going to be starting by year's end. Now taking a look at the corners, Xavier Howard, obviously one of the better corners in the league, getting that massive extension. You put him next to Byron Jones and Nick Needham. So obviously the corner in terms of starter projections, pretty easy. Looking at the backups, Noah Igbenogany, he's got to have a big year. I had him as a cut candidate, but with the dead money he'd be taking on, I don't expect him to be one of the June 1st cuts. Really what it came down to for me in terms of projecting the corner depth chart was the last spot. And that was between Keion Crossen, who you just signed in free agency, played for the Texans, Trill Williams, a second-year player out of Syracuse, and Kader Kohou, an undrafted free agent out of Texas A&M Commerce. So I chose Crossen just because you gave him a 3-year deal, and he has experience, more experience, obviously, than Trill and Kohou. But go down in the comments section. If you're the GM, if you're Chris Greer and you're Mike McDaniel, and you're constructing this roster, and there was only one spot left on the team, who would you be giving it to? Would you be giving it to Crossen, type C, Williams, type W, or Kohou, type K? Now, look, I went to Syracuse. Trill Williams played for the Qs, man. I'm biased. I would type my W for Trill Williams. However, got to be an unbiased journalist in this situation. I expect Crossen to be making the team in front of Trill Williams and Kader Kohou. Now taking a look at the safety position, and there is a name on this list that you do not see, and that is Eric Rowe. I am going to predict that Eric Rowe is part of the post-June 1 cuts because you would be saving a lot of money getting rid of him. Over $4.5 million, and you don't really need him. Look, he's a quality safety. I'm not saying he's not good, but you have Brandon Jones and Jevon Holland, two very young, up-and-coming players. Jevon, already one of the top 10 safeties in the NFL as a second-year player. I'm going to say Cedric Redwine and Verone McKinley, the third undrafted free agent out of Oregon, are the other two safeties on this roster. I think Eric Rowe is going to get cut. I think it happens sooner rather than later as well. Now taking a look at our Dolphins specialists here, obviously Jason Sanders, the kicker. Now, Thomas Morstead, I went ahead and put him as the punter. However, Tommy Heatherly's got a real shot to win that job, man. I know you gave Morstead over $1 million for 1 year. Tommy Heatherly, man, look out for him. I'm not going to be head over heels shocked if Morstead gets beat out and then Blake Ferguson, LSU Tiger, as the long snapper. Now, let's get into my practice squad projections, and the practice squad rules are as follows. There are 16 players allowed. Now, the NFL changed the rule to 16 because of COVID, but it was always thought they were going to go back to 14. They're not doing that this year, or they're not doing that going forward. The rule going forward is that 16 players are allowed, and 6 veteran players can be allowed, and they consider a veteran someone who has been in the league more than 2 years. So for the most part, it's going to be a lot of UDFAs, some rookies on my practice squad. Now, name a player that you want on the practice squad, someone who's probably not going to make the team, but you would like to stash on the practice squad. Is it Skylar Thompson? Is it Kader Kohou? I know a lot of y'all are Zaquandre White fans, South Carolina running back. Go down in the comments section and let me know. And here are my practice squad projections. Jared Dokes, who was on the practice squad last year, 7th round pick in 2021. He'll be back on the practice squad this year. And I know a lot of y'all are big Zaquandre White fans. Really, the only chance he has of making the 53-man is if the Dolphins carry 5 running backs, and he'd have to beat out Jared Dokes and Salvon Ahmed. Skylar Thompson, expect him to be the practice squad QB. If something happens with Teddy or Tua, he could get called up to the active roster. And then Braylon Sanders, a wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Tanner Conner, I have him marked down as a wide receiver, but the Dolphins apparently trying him out at tight end. However, I really think the only chance he has of making the 53-man is as a wide receiver. I have him on the practice squad here. Cameron Good, Kader Kohou, Blaze Andrews, some rookies that I have on the practice squad. Kohou and Andrews, undrafted free agents. Good was the Dolphins' 7th-round pick, and I like Cameron Good. He was actually kind of my first man out if we're doing this bracketology style. He barely did not make the 53-man roster, and the reason he didn't is because the Dolphins already have a lot of depth at the linebacker position. I have the team carrying 9 linebackers on the initial 53-man roster. Almost put him on there as the 10th, but he's someone that I still expect to, make an impact in practice and then maybe get a shot to make the team, to be on the team down the stretch in the season. 37 career starts at Cal, 20.5 sacks, was a really was an underrated draft prospect. Didn't even get invited to the combine, and he gets drafted by the Dolphins in the 7th round. Moving on to the rest of the practice squad. I really wanted to put my guy Trill there, man, but on the 53-man. He's on the practice squad as well as Ben Still, defensive lineman, undrafted free agent. Owen Carney, another Big Ten undrafted free agent on that defensive line. And then Benito Jones, one of my veterans that made this practice squad. Deshaun Hall, Calvin Munson, and then we rounded out with Clayton and Elijah Hamilton making the practice squad. That is what I have in terms of the 16 practice squad players. Some notable cuts. River Craycraft did not make my 53-man roster or the practice squad. He's gone, as well as Trent Sherfield. Now, Greg Little, you can save over $1 million cutting him. He didn't even play last year after you traded for him from the Panthers. Eric Rowe, obviously the most notable cut. I'm not saying that we're going to get into training camp and preseason games and then he's going to get cut. I think he's going to be one of the post-June 1 cuts, as well as Larnell Coleman. Now, Eric Rowe, here's why you're going to cut him. Cap savings, if cut or traded, over $4.5 million. Dead money, nothing crazy. This is not a Noah Igbenogany situation where you would be taking on $6 million in dead money if you get rid of him. Eric Rowe, the dead money is about, $500,000, and then the cap savings over $4.5 million. I think I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer to cut Eric Rowe, but I do think it's going to happen. Moving on to the other notable cuts, Adam Pankey and Adam Shaheen. I know Adam Shaheen probably going to get cut, but I think the Dolphins just going to carry 3 tight ends, either Hunter Long or Adam Shaheen. Hunter Long has more potential to make an impact in this Miami Dolphins offense. Salvon Ahmed, fortunately, he does not make the cut. I like him, but there's just no room for him. He's on the hot seat after the Dolphins running back signings. The Dolphins have signed 3 running backs thus far in NFL free agency, and then you still have Myles Gaskin in front of Ahmed, and he has competition from Jared Dokes and Zaquandre White. You would save nearly $900,000 by getting rid of Salvon Ahmed. Now, what did I get wrong in terms of the roster projections? I'm not perfect, so go down in the comments section and let me know who you think is going to make the team that I don't think is going to make this Dolphins 53-man roster. Thanks for watching Dolphins Today. It's going to be a pretty big week here at Chat Sports with the June 1st cuts. Anything that happens with that, we're going to keep you informed here on Dolphins Today. So go ahead and hit that big red sub button. This has been Will Scott with Dolphins Today. Go Fins.